Tonight, little Christmas cheer from the RBA for borrowers. The Reserve Bank lifts interest rates for an 8th consecutive time and warns it won't be the last. Dominic Perrottet and Chris Minns lay out their visions for the future of Sydney. Inside the maximum security prison with a difference. Art classes, dog training and dorms instead of cells. And the American actor Kirstie Alley dies at the age of 71 after being diagnosed with cancer. Good evening, Jeremy Fernandez with ABC News. Just in time for Christmas, the Reserve Bank has lifted interest rates at its final meeting of the year. The increase of 0.25 of a percentage point is the 8th straight increase. It takes the cash rate to 3.1%, the highest level in a decade. Rates have gone up 3% now since April. It's meant to tame inflation, but it's also cranking up pressure on homeowners. And there's no relief in sight. The RBA is already looking to put rates up even more next year.
As interest rates rise and house prices fall, first home buyers are dropping out of the market. But not this couple. They're moving into their new property.
It's been a bit volatile through this process. I think when we first started looking, we were potentially looking at a 2% interest rate, and now we've ended up at a 5.2%.
If lenders pass on the latest rate hike in full, homeowners with a $750,000 mortgage and 25 years left on the loan will see their repayments rise by $113 a month, which means they're now paying $1,251 more than they were before the RBA started increasing rates in May.
So already having a harsh and heavy impact on repayments, but as the RBA has made clear today, we expect that the full impact of these rate rises will be felt down the track.
Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe says the board expects to increase rates further, but it is not on a preset course. It is closely monitoring the global economy, household spending and wage and price-setting behaviour. After 8 months of rising interest rates, there is a slight reprieve in sight. The Reserve Bank's next cash rate decision won't be until February. Economists are split on how aggressive further hikes will be, with the RBA having to tread carefully to curb inflation without causing a recession.
So we're expecting 2 more 25 basis point increases in the cash rate next year in February and March, and then for the RBA to hold rates steady from there for a time. That really reflects inflation is still too high.
Retirees at this bowls club are unimpressed. Banks haven't passed on the full rate rises to savers like them.
They're very good at putting up the mortgage rate, so they probably should do the savings rates at the same time.
Going into the holidays with shrinking purses. Rihanna Whitson, ABC News.
Compensation for coal-rich states is on the table as the federal government tries to secure a deal to cap coal and gas prices. The intervention is designed to curb power bills that are forecast to increase by 56% over the next 2 years. The Prime Minister is now due to meet state and territory leaders on Friday in a virtual National Cabinet meeting.
COVID positive at Kirribilli and hitting the airwaves in between phone calls to state and territory leaders.
Prime Minister, good morning. How are you?
Not 100%, obviously. I'm doing okay.
Anthony Albanese is trying to secure a deal to curb skyrocketing power prices, but he's been forced to postpone a National Cabinet meeting until Friday.
What we're looking at is trying to act before Christmas, which is what we said we would do, so that there's no actual delay in anything except the formal meeting.
The Albanese government will not stand by and watch the impacts of Russia's war just flow through to Australian industry and consumers.
Families are hurting, businesses are on their knees. Everybody is waiting for the government to stump up with its approach.
The Commonwealth is set to temporarily cap gas prices at about $12 a gigajoule, and it wants the states to put a cap on coal prices too. But New South Wales and Queensland are holding firm on their demand for federal compensation to make up for any loss of royalty revenue.
If there's a case for some responsible contribution from the Commonwealth, then obviously that will be part of the conversation.
That contribution in the form of compensation could be in the billions. But without a formal proposal and ahead of Friday's meeting, each state leader is playing to their own constituencies. For his part, the Prime Minister says he's confident a deal will be done and he expects power prices to start easing from February next year. Jane Norman, ABC News, Canberra.
It wasn't an official campaign launch, but in some ways it certainly felt like it. Both the Premier and Opposition Leader have today delivered major speeches outlining their visions for Sydney ahead of the March election. Housing and education were the key themes.
Two leaders tasked with setting a vision.